You went to bed on time, you slept 8 hours, you woke up exhausted. That means one of two things. Either sleep length was never the real variable, or something inside those 8 hours failed to recover you. Either way, you may have been measuring the wrong thing. Before we talk about mechanisms, protocols, supplements, or sleep hacks, I want you to check something simple tomorrow morning. Before coffee, before your phone, within the first 15 minutes of waking, ask yourself one question. Do I feel like a person, or do I feel like I am recovering from something? That difference is not just a mood, it can be a biological signal. This is not a diagnosis, it is a pattern check. But if every morning feels like you are pulling yourself out of concrete, your body may not be entering the day properly. Write down one word for 5 mornings, present or flat, because one bad morning does not tell you much, a pattern does. And in this video, I want to show you 3 things. The morning signal most people never check, the curve that can make 8 hours feel like 6, and the first 5-day protocol to test before buying anything. If your fatigue is severe, worsening, or comes with post-exertional crashes, neurological symptoms, joint pain, unexplained weight change, or major mood disruption, this is not a YouTube protocol. That is a reason to get properly evaluated. But if your pattern is this, you sleep enough, you do the obvious things right, and you still wake up flat, then this is the system I would check first. Now, here is what is actually happening. Your body has a hormone called cortisol. Most people hear cortisol and think stress. That framing is too simple. Cortisol is also a timing signal. In the morning, it is supposed to rise, not because something is wrong, but because your body needs a signal that the day has started. Through the day, it should gradually come down. By late evening, it should be low enough that your body can shift into deeper recovery. When that rhythm works, you feel the difference between morning and night. Morning has a kind of arrival, night has a kind of descent. But when that rhythm gets flattened, when the morning rise is weak or the evening signal stays too active, your body can lose the timing difference. And the result feels exactly like the problem on this thumbnail. Still tired. Tired when you need to be awake. Wired when you need to sleep. 8 hours in bed that feel like they did not land. This is often discussed through the HPA-axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That is the command loop your body uses to coordinate stress response, energy timing, and recovery signals. The important point is this. Your fatigue may not be a sleep duration problem. It may be a signal timing problem. I spent almost 2 years tracking this in my own data. My sleep hours looked fine, my sleep score looked acceptable, my evening routine was clean, but every morning still felt like starting from zero. The number was not lying, it just was not telling me the whole story. And this is where many people get stuck. They keep asking, how do I get more sleep? But the better question may be, why does the sleep I am already getting not produce recovery? That brings us to the second system. Your cortisol rhythm is not controlled only by your habits. It is influenced by your gut, your immune system, your nervous system, and the signals moving between them. The gut and brain communicate constantly. That communication travels through several routes: the vagus nerve, immune messengers, metabolic byproducts, and inflammatory signals. So when the gut environment is irritated, depleted, or metabolically unstable, the brain can read that as a low-grade threat signal. Not a dramatic threat, not panic, just enough activation to keep the system slightly on when it should be powering down. And when that happens overnight, you can do many obvious sleep things correctly. No late caffeine, dark room, cool room, consistent schedule, and still wake up exhausted. Because the body was in bed, but the stress system never fully stood down. This is the wrong signal. The body is acting as if there is something to manage, something to monitor, something to defend against. And that is very different from recovery. Here is your second self-check. Look at your cognitive window across the day. Most people with a clean morning rhythm have at least one window of sharper thinking, often somewhere in the first half of the day. If that window does not exist, if every hour feels equally dim, or if your best thinking only starts late at night, that may be a clue that your rhythm is shifted. Again, not a diagnosis, a pattern. And patterns are what tell you where to look first. Now there is a deeper layer underneath this, and I want to mention it without making the episode more complicated than it needs to be. Your cells still have to convert recovery into usable energy. That depends partly on mitochondria, the energy-producing structures inside your cells. If mitochondrial efficiency is low, you can sleep enough and still feel underpowered. The body had time in bed, but the cellular engine did not produce the output you expected. This is worth knowing, but it should not be the first place most people start. For most viewers, the first move is not an advanced mitochondrial protocol. The The first move is to test the timing signals that control the recovery environment. So the order is simple: curve, gut, engine. First, check the rhythm. Then, check the gut signal. Then, if the pattern does not move, investigate deeper energy production. Now let's make this practical. System 1 is the morning end of the curve. The most powerful first input is outdoor light early in the day. Not because light is motivational, not because morning routines are magical, because light is a timestamp. When outdoor light reaches the retina early after waking, it helps anchor the brain's master clock. That clock influences the timing of cortisol, body temperature, alertness, and sleep pressure later that night. The practical rule: go outside within 15 minutes of waking, 5 minutes if the light is bright, longer if it is cloudy. No sunglasses if you can safely avoid them. Do it before the phone if possible. If weather or schedule makes that impossible, a bright light lamp can be a backup. It is not the same as real outdoor light, but it is usually better than starting the day in dim indoor light and blue phone glare. Do this for 5 mornings before judging it. Not once, 5 mornings. Because the body runs on patterns, not intentions. System 2 is meal timing. This is one of the most underrated reasons people sleep enough but recover poorly. When you eat a substantial meal close to bedtime, your digestive and metabolic systems are still active when your body is supposed to be cooling down. Deep recovery depends on the body being able to lower temperature, shift fuel use, and enter stable, slow-wave sleep. If your last meal is too close to bed, you may still sleep. But sleep is not the same as recovery. Longer, shallow sleep does not always replace shorter, deep recovery. The practical rule: finish your last substantial meal at least 3 hours before the time you intend to sleep. Not because late eating is morally bad, because timing changes the recovery environment. If you eat at 10:30 and try to sleep at midnight, your body is doing 2 jobs at once. It is trying to digest, and it is trying to recover. That is a conflict. And for some people, that conflict is enough to make 8 hours feel incomplete. System 3 is the gut signal. I want to be careful here because this is where the internet often turns a real mechanism into a magic fix. Your gut bacteria produce metabolites that influence immune tone, gut barrier function, and communication with the nervous system. One of those metabolites is butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid produced when certain bacteria ferment specific fibers. Research in fatigue-related conditions has found differences in gut microbiome patterns, including changes in bacteria involved in short-chain fatty acid production. That does not mean butyrate is the only cause of fatigue. It is not. But it does mean the gut signal is worth respecting. The practical question is not, what supplement fixes my fatigue? The better question is, are you feeding the bacteria that help produce the calming signal? Those bacteria need fermentable fibers. One useful category is resistant starch. Examples include cooled cooked potatoes, green bananas, oats prepared ahead of time, cooked and cooled rice, beans or lentils if you tolerate them. These foods pass further down the digestive tract and become substrate for bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids. That is not a hack, it is a supply chain. The bacteria that help calm the signal need raw material. But do not start here first if your daily rhythm is chaotic. Start with the curve: morning light, meal timing, then gut substrate. That order matters. Because if your timing signals are broken, adding one more healthy thing can become noise. Now here is the 5-day protocol. Night 1. Write down the time of your last substantial meal. Do not change it yet. Just observe whether it was within 3 hours of sleep. Morning 1 through 5. Before coffee, before your phone, within the first 15 minutes of waking, write one word: present or flat. Morning 1 through 5. Go outside early, 5 minutes minimum. No phone, no scrolling, just light entering the system. At the end of 5 days, look at the pattern. Did your morning shift at all? Did your first hour feel less flat? Did your thinking arrive earlier? Did the day feel like it started more cleanly? If yes, your first lever is probably the curve. If no, look at meal timing next. Move your last substantial meal earlier for 5 nights and watch what changes. If the mornings still feel flat after stabilizing light and meal timing, then begin working on the gut signal more deliberately. Add resistant starch slowly, not aggressively. 2 to 4 weeks is a more realistic window for gut-related changes. And if your fatigue is severe, long-lasting, or comes with red flags, do not keep experimenting endlessly. Get evaluated. You are not lazy, you are not weak, and you are not failing because you need another productivity trick. You may be running a biological system that is receiving mismatched signals. Morning light is a signal. Meal timing is a signal. Gut metabolites are signals. Sleep is not just time, it is the result of timing, chemistry, temperature, and nervous system state. Flat morning energy is not a character flaw, it is information. And once you can read the information, you stop guessing. Tomorrow morning, you will either feel the shift or you will have the first data point that tells you where to look next. Either way, you are no longer asking, why am I broken? You are asking a better question. Which signal is my body responding to? That is a different place to begin.